Welcome to the Wealthy SAP Consultant Podcast with your host, Anita Anello, where we empower SAP consultants to deliver premium services by showcasing their expertise to the world. In each episode, we dive deep into strategies, tips, and success stories to help SAP consultants like you elevate your consultancy game, attract high-paying clients, and maximize your revenue potential. Get ready to unlock the secrets to success in the SAP consulting world and position yourself as a top-tier consultant. To connect further and explore personalized strategies for your consulting business, schedule a strategy call with our team by clicking the link below. Enjoy the show. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for being here with us today on the Wealthy SAP Consultant Podcast. I am super excited to bring a new friend to the stage today, to this show today. Ramya, I'm super stoked to talk to you because this is actually different on our show. You have more of an Oracle background, whereas many people that listen to the show have a SAP background. But as you and I were just getting acquainted and talking about stuff, and we know a lot of the challenges that we're talking about in this market space of walking through ERP projects and moving to the cloud and what this season looks like for all of us and the challenges that come up in these kinds of projects and just everything else that goes along with it, they are not product specific. And so, Ramya, thank you so much. Why don't you go ahead and do a quick intro for the audience, and then we'll dive into our conversation today.
Sure. Thanks, Anita. Thank you so much. Hi, everyone. This is Ramya Ramachandran, and I live in Midwest of the US in a small town called Muscatine, Iowa, work for HNI Corporation. They are North America's #1 furniture manufacturers, specifically office furniture manufacturers. And I am working here like in Oracle for the past 25 years and with HNI like around 10 years. So yeah, have quite a bit going and learned quite a bit along the way.
Yeah, I love that. So you got not recently, but you and I were just talking about an ERP implementation project that was about a 5-year project. Can you kind of give us just a little bit of an insight? What were some of the elements of that project? What maybe contributed to that time frame? What were some of the maybe the complexities that are in that project and kind of when you started, and then maybe we'll talk about some next steps after that.
Yes, sure. Yeah, that we were talking about the HNI itself, the company to whom I'm working for. And this project started around 2013. And HNI, as I was saying, they are the they are the office furniture manufacturers. By the simplest term, it just says, okay, office furniture, chairs and tables, what's so big about it? But the thing is, the way their offerings are, the way how many options they give for even a chair, like the colors, the fabrics, the tabletops, what is mine, laminate, and all the good other stuffs. So we have a very complex bill of materials. And the way we interact with our customers. So the thing is, as soon as I acknowledge my order, I promise my customer what is the day that I am going to deliver. So this is like way ahead when I get my order and acknowledge. So this is kind of like a customer relationship experience that the HNI had built that makes its supply chain so complex because we have to left shift everything, calculate everything, and then stick to the date and then work towards it. So we have around like 300 odd customization in our ERP landscape. So it starts with our backbone itself of supply chain itself is a customization, which is our containerization solution. So it's like so complex. So we had to have a big runway. We didn't want it to go big bang just to avoid major disruption. So taken bits and pieces, small organizations first. That was the long story short for our 5 years plan, 5-year thing.
Wow. 5 years is kind of a long time. What were some of like the maybe roadblocks that happened in that time frame? Can you talk about some of those?
Oh, yes. So the way, even in the design phase, we hit a big roadblock, which actually kind of pushed our project a little bit. The like people in ERP landscape, they will understand what is like a flow manufacturing versus what is discrete manufacturing.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of flow is like go in a flow 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'm done my product out of the line.
Mhm.
But discrete manufacturing is for my order, what I am producing, I'm taking it out. We are kind of a make to order
Yeah.
business.
Hmm.
So we don't stock. It's just because of the offerings that we have, that again, the complexity of the product line. So to begin with, the consulting where we were getting the ERP expertise, I was on part of them. So it is like we thought flow manufacturing was the best way for HNI to go about. We did a small CRP. We went into the first integration cycle, and that is where we stuck because we had a major roadblock. Yes, things are not working as what we were expecting. So we had to actually again go back to the table, draw the picture, see what it is. So
Yeah.
we have a blend of flow versus discrete as of now, which fixes our problems, and that is how we work. So it had some kind of like a rework and all that other stuff, which was a big challenge.
Yeah. Yeah. Isn't it so fascinating? Well, I think while there are customers, I've worked with customers you probably have that do have simpler manufacturing processes. There are lots of companies that have very complex supply chains, very complex, like what you mentioned, right? It's maybe a core item, but there's lots of different options for colors and sizes. You mentioned fabrics. I'm sitting in office equipment right now and I'm like, oh, that's right. I remember when I could order my desk, I could put this top on or that top on, or right? Or the chairs, maybe you can have a different kind of wood and all those things. And having worked for a big lighting manufacturer, same kind of thing. We had these same complexities in their projects. And what was so interesting is, I don't know if you guys found this, is we said, okay, we'll map out the standard. The standard is X, Y, Z. Okay, tell us the exceptions. Well, the exceptions are like a bigger list than the standard, right? And so in those scenarios, it's really fascinating to me how well these businesses run, how well their revenue, how big their revenue is, and yet still in all, we figure these things out. Even though I sometimes at times it feels like in the middle of the project, you're not going to figure it out, but you know that you're going to have to one way or the other. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so what about like what about now? You guys, so you had told me kind of pre-call. I don't know if you mentioned it on the show. You started a project in around 2013-ish and then finished it around 2018-ish. And if you didn't catch that, did you guys hear her say 300 customizations in this project? Like that's a lot. That's a lot to get the business. You're basically making the software mold around the business.
Okay.
Um, what other challenges came up, maybe like since then?
Uh, Main thing, the another challenge would be like, every other ERP implementation would face this. This is the change management
Oh,
with
yes.
the company. Because especially this happens when you have a homegrown solution that the members are working on,
Yeah,
and then we shift to something which is like a standard kind of a big software, only certain team knows about it.
yeah,
It's new in the market, and it is going to be faster than what it was. At least we promise that.
yeah.
And and then so it is like, those that change management, working with other business members, that is quite a learning. And
Mm,
I have I've faced that when I was in my very first company, when actually we went from our homegrown Ingress to Oracle. Nobody liked Oracle.
yeah.
The same thing I saw after 15 years in my career doing the same thing for another company. It's the same emotion, it's the same passion that the members have, and getting that confidence with the members and selling your product, selling the things that we have actually implemented for them. It is going to help their business. It is not going to take your job out.
Oh,
And that thing, that change management is a task that every consultant goes through or every IT goes through whenever we give a solution to the business, right? They
yeah.
know it, we are giving the better thing for them, but yeah, there is a person quotient there. There is a change management process, and that was a big thing because HNI is a big thing, and we have like around US we have a bigger footprint.
Yeah. Isn't that so fascinating? That's actually change management, escalation management. Those are areas that I really, that's my sweet spot with the bigger SAP clients that I serve. And it's so fascinating to me because the reality is we could take any ERP solution, any project. I'm just going to pretend and say it's 12,000 steps on the project plan. It's going to go from A to Z, and you're going to do all these things, and maybe we'll make some tweaks along the way. But the people component is not easy. So software, I would say this way, let me correct myself. It's not easy, but it is simple. So the steps that we go through to put any new solution in are simple, right?
Mhm.
The hard part is the people part. I like to say like this, like maybe Susie Bell back here, she's had this business process that she developed 20 years ago, and she has like a kung fu grip on her business process because she developed it. She's passionate about it. It also makes sense to her. There's a level of familiarity in it for her. So when she comes to work, she is going and doing what she's really good at now. And then what we're saying as ERP consultants, uh, we're going to like remove that entirely from your job. And oh, by the way, we're going to put this new thing in and it's going to be amazing. And there's all this excitement, and all of her bosses have said, it's going to be amazing. We're going this direction. But oftentimes, at every level of the organization, we have kind of had surface level buy-in, but we didn't, when it gets down to their actual task, it's very hard. So number one, like people, we don't really love the change part of changing an ERP solution, or even doing an upgrade, right? This happens in upgrades as well. I think the other part that you kind of like started to skim over, and I find this a lot when we go from change management to escalation management, is that there are a lot of there's an undercurrent of heavy fear. What's gonna, if I'm a leader of an organization, I tend to serve C-suite presidents, that owners of the organization, those are my clients. And then what we find is maybe their board is telling them, if this doesn't work, you're gonna lose your job. Maybe it's not even spoken, it's just a feeling, or it's just a perception that they have in their mind. We've spent all these millions of dollars on this thing, and I got to get it working. Otherwise, I'm out. So there's also some of those. Sometimes they're real fears, sometimes they're perceived fears, right? So there's change in process, there's change in potentially a fear that somebody might have. You mentioned another one. I might lose my job at like a different level of the organization. And then the other part that's really interesting around like change management is just the fact that we have to sometimes we have to like communicate with people differently than we did before, right? If I like for instance, I had this report that I used to give to my boss all the time, and now he wants the data. He wants the data, either he or she wants the data in the same way, but it's coming out in a different format. And I have to figure out how to do that, right? So there's all this kind of like unknown that creates another level of fear and anxiety that happens in change management that is it's very, very real. The reason I bring it up is because it's so real.
Mhm.
So if we transition a little bit, by all means, you can tag in on that. And so let me pause right there and say, what are you thinking? What's kind of coming up as I'm talking about this that you can share from your experience as well?
Oh yeah, yeah. I've, just to give examples like that, right? I have seen like they say, I don't like this label. It's not coming. It used to come in 8 seconds. It comes in 10 seconds. So it is not efficient. It's just that the
Yes.
way of, getting used to the new system,
Yeah.
and then okay, then start. They would appreciate. Now they appreciate it.
Yeah.
Now, whatever they have, they know that, it was not in my GFR system. It is there in Oracle, and we have a better way to do it. There are so many other reportings that I can do about it. So they do appreciate it now.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing the same fear now when the AI is coming into picture. So it is like we do some automations because we see there are so much mundane tasks
Mm,
that the members do every other day, like, come in, take a report, put it into an FTP folder, and then from there something kicks in. Then I have to again go check that and send it as an email to somebody. This is a specific 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 workflow that they keep doing in their
yeah.
work, and this consumes a lot of time of them.
Mhm.
And those are the things that we pick for, like, automation. We say, okay, this is going to help you. So again, the same, the anxiety and the fear comes, what will happen to my job, because this is my half a day work,
Oh, yeah.
or let's say it's my 2 hours job every day.
Yeah.
So this fear, this anxiety, the helping out, but we'll have to explain them how it is going to help. It is not, I'm not going to, this is not to replace, but it is to make your work productive so that you can do a different thing that matters more to the company
Yeah.
than what, where we are spending a lot of time now. So I think, like how you exactly mentioned, how we communicate,
Yeah.
and how the leaders communicate to the every member that, okay, this is what is in it for you,
Mhm.
and how it is going to like shape up.
Mhm.
And there is another quotient of how comfortable I am to change, right? The
Mhm.
more I resist, it's going to be more harmful for me,
Yeah.
rather than the sooner I engage, the sooner I get accustomed to the new stuff, learn the new stuff, and those are the people who are going to this go up in the
Mhm.
new fields as it comes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah.
Isn't it so interesting with AI? We do have these thoughts of I might lose my job. But what if the other side of that is the mundane tasks that are actually wasting my mental energy? So we all have these incredible brains that God has given us that really allow us to have these supercomputers inside of our own heads. What if we propose, like I'll just put it out to this way, what if we consider the idea that if we're able to replace and speed up some of those mundane tasks that probably we sit around with a cup of coffee and complain to our friends that we don't like doing anyway? Possibly. I don't know. I'm just saying. But what if we were able to automate some of those tasks, like your example, perfect example, and then we're able to think more strategically. We're able to add more value to the business. AI is not going to replace our strategic thinking as human beings. It's never going to do that. It's not designed for that. It is a powerful tool, but we also have to recognize it's a tool. It's a
Yeah.
tool that we can use to actually make our lives easier. And then that allows us to level up. And how can we, think of more creative? When I talk about our minds, one of the things, there's something called the 4 levels of value, and there's a bunch of different people out in the marketplace that teach 4 levels of value, either Eileen Wilder or Myron Golden and a couple other folks. But one of the things that we talk about is this principle that our minds, because they're such supercomputers, we actually, the highest form of value that we can bring to any situation is to use our mind to think something
Mhm.
up and then be able to speak that out. Those are the top 2 levels of value without going into all of the detail. But it's really fascinating to me that because it's unknown, meaning AI, because AI is unknown, and we're not really sure how to like wield it as the powerful tool that it is, then it does cause kind of this friction and confusion a little bit. Um, what have you guys seen kind of transitioning from AI into the cloud? What are some of the things that you've seen and you and I talked about this a little bit before we got started. Like, talk to me a little bit about the movement into the cloud, like the transformation that so many companies are
Mhm.
going towards, but also a lot of big companies that have heavy customizations, like you mentioned, they're really holding off and saying like, whoa, my last Oracle or SAP implementation was also already so hard and so expensive. I don't want to go through that again. Or to your point, I have so many customizations that I can't go into a fit to standard. Like, talk to me a little bit about your perspective of what's going in the marketplace, and then how can we serve our customers that are needing to make that transition. So let's
Yeah.
start there.
Yeah. So yeah, when the initial thought of, okay, what next?
Yeah.
Like, next is the cloud transformation. So for as soon as we say the cloud transformation, the big panic will be like what I'll do with my 300 odd customizations. Just talking about myself right here. The same scenario occurs for every other people, like maybe not 300, maybe 30, but they are the key backbone of their
Mhm.
entire supply chain or the financials, and they can't live without it.
Yeah.
So the thing is, the first thing that comes to their mind is like, what I'm going to do with that, how I'm going to fit it there. So how we approached that scenario, or how we are approaching that scenario, is like, split my things into multiple buckets. For example, I have my data bucket separately and I have my customizations bucket separately, because as I go to cloud, I have to really think about what I am getting into the cloud. I don't want my 10 years of ERP into cloud and expanding the space and paying for it and whatnot.
Yeah.
So first is cleanse my data, what I am going to get it. So that is a separate activity that is being planned and being worked on.
Mm.
That itself is a multi-step, because I have to start from my archiving, purging, and then go from my transaction, see what master data that I need, how I can consolidate, because what our company was 10 years back is not what my company is now. So
Yeah.
there are so much mergers, there are so much, acquisitions and all the good other stuff that happens. So like how I can consolidate my data and get the best data to the cloud. So that is a separate initiative.
Yeah.
And then coming on to my customizations, we can't customize in cloud like how we customized. We are so spoiled, customize everything in Oracle. So the thing is now but we need those kind of solutions to get our business going, right? It's the business, it's the customer experience that we are providing as the business. We can't say no to that. So as IT, what we are thinking is like, what are the big customizations that I can pull out, that can be maybe some other application does it as a third party.
Yeah.
Or let's say I have my containerizations or loading optimizations as a separate customization in ERP, but how can I take that out? Like, I get orders in Oracle, I give a date, but the thing is, after that, I want to execute everything outside. I don't want that complex thing of manufacturing and execution within Oracle, because that is where my heavy customizations are.
Hmm.
So, what our thinking is, can an MES do it? If an MES application can do it, what it can be?
Yeah.
And what is the best fit for my company? What is the best fit for the business? And those kind of things, when you take that out and implement it separately and then have it talk to your ERP, it makes your ERP line very lean,
Mm.
and your major thing is outside, and that is always customizable, and you get what you want.
Yeah.
So that is an approach that we are doing, because there is no way we can do those customizations that we have in
Yeah.
Oracle, written in Oracle. So
That. I love that. I love that. Actually, there's two things that are going on here, Ramya, that I totally love. Number one is across platforms, we're all doing the similar things. So that tells us that we're all on the right track. We're all kind of on this journey together. We have these big organizations that have these, whatever they're running, it doesn't matter, but they have these customizations and they need to move into the cloud for a lot of different reasons. And so we're kind of all on this journey together, regardless of what product that you favor one way or the other. And actually, that for me, I don't know, hopefully if somebody's listening, that actually gives me a lot of peace, because it tells me that together we're all on the same journey. So I really like that. The other thing that I love that you said, this is kind of the undercurrent that I heard, is you and your team are paying attention to what the end user wants. You're paying attention to the business processes and how important they are. I have customers that have said, Anita, I absolutely positively have to have this customization because it's what makes me a market leader. And there's no way, no how I can run my business and keep my competitive edge without that. I have lots of customers who have said that. Great. No problem. But I love the way, just listening to you talk, I see the creativity that's coming out in your mind and potentially the conversations you're having of what's important to people and what's important to the business. Can you expand on that a little bit? Like, is that where did you learn that? How did you gather that that's important? Because it is so important. Back to what we said earlier. Um, it's simple to do some of these projects that we're doing. They are complex, but there's just steps. You go step A and step B and step C. But the two components that you just mentioned are, I would dare say, they're even more important than just the project plan steps.
Mhm.
Being able to address the business needs that are really there. At the end of the day, I kind of look at it this way. At the end of the day, if we have not addressed our customers' business needs, we have failed.
That's right.
Really, like full stop. We've really failed at providing them with the outcome that they were looking for to be able to grow and scale to their next level. And so, I don't know, for me and my organization, that's like a absolutely positively no way, no how. We're not ever doing that.
That's
But
true.
I don't know, talk to me a little bit about like, did you have people that coached and mentored you along the way to understand the people component and the business component? Was it based on maybe what you learned in university? Like what talk to me about that a little bit more.
Okay. So, yes. So, in this 25 years, right, I started, it's my learning is in my experience
Mhm.
because I started into IT as a fresh undergrad out of the college, just got my degree three months after I'm in the work. But the thing is, I have been in multiple shoes in the thing, right? So I started off as a customer, like I was in the IT of the manufacturing company. So I had worked for the in-house ERP system, build their system, help them do what they need. They'll just say, I just need a form today, and after a week, there will be a form, there will be a table, we'll do all the things. So that's how it worked. But later, when Oracle was getting implemented, so I was there as a liaison between the business member and the consultant who were actually helping us. So I had been in that shoe. And couple of years later, I had been in the shoe of the consultant who was actually giving that services to the company.
Mhm.
So I know the limitations that a client, as a consultant faces,
Mhm.
and I know what are all the challenges the business will face if the other party is not delivering what you need.
Oh yeah.
So it is always the liaison between the IT and the business that plays a critical role because they have to translate what a business needs in a language that an IT will understand.
Yeah.
And the same way, they have to communicate back what a limitation of IT is to the business so that we will get a buy-in of what we are delivering. Or else this railroad will, it will never meet. We
Yeah.
will be like this.
Yeah.
And we have to handshake somewhere, right? And that is a challenge, and that is the role. And my current role is that I am the digital business partner now, which who I am actually the liaison between the IT and the business. So this kind of a role has always helped it, and those roles were the ones who mentored when I was in both sides of the business.
Oh
Now
yeah.
I am actually doing that, so I'm kind of taking all the learnings that I had in the past. So
Yeah.
I see the business liaison between the IT and the business, right? Those members, or they say the analyst or business analyst or those kind of members, they are the key because they have both the world. They know both the world, and they kind of can talk both and then get it going.
I love
So
it.
I have learned a lot from those members who have been doing that thing in my past 25 years.
Yeah.
And that is what helps me.
I
And
love
having worked in multiple shoes, like
it. Mm.
I would recommend, like if at all a new like undergrad or somebody who is actually starting a career, right, if they get an opportunity to go work in multiple places or multiple roles, that is going to give us a roundabout, like well-rounded understanding and better client customer experience, whatever it is, wherever we are working on. So that's what I see as a major thing, big thing.
That's fascinating you say that. I just actually had a conversation with a young man who's in India and he is just starting out. He's like, I think he's probably maybe still at school as we were
Mhm.
talking the other day. And he was kind of asking me the same kind of question, like Anita, as a young professional, and you and I started to discuss this a little bit in kind of like our pre-call, is as a young professional just starting out, what would I do? And now one of the things, Ramya, that you mentioned was that, and I'm going to kind of break it down this way, is that
Yeah.
we can go industry vertical and have a breadth about us that says, sorry, the other way, a depth about us that says, I know everything about, I'm going to use your example, furniture manufacturing. I know everything about discrete
Mhm.
manufacturing, all that, right? So that gives us a depth down in an industry vertical that you just keep working on projects over and over and over again that are in that same area. And that is important. So what I'm saying is, yes, find an area as a young professional, find an area of any of these products that you really are interested in, so much so, so passionate that maybe you'd read information when you're not at work and you'd learn more, like you'd watch YouTube videos, you'd read more books, you'd get more certifications, all that kind of stuff. You're kind of really have a genuine interest in that industry vertical that you want to go deeper so that you have a little bit more and then work in
Mhm.
that area. The other thing that happens when you go cross industry, and it sounds like this is what you have, this is what I've had in my career, so I was part of a team that in the early days of SAP, we brought in 10,000 net new customers into the SAP ecosystem. So in 10,000 customers, and my team touched almost, well, most of those implementations. So can you
Mhm.
see how the breadth that we had in dealing with all these kinds of businesses, all these personality styles, all these industries, all these different sales scenarios, all these different implementation scenarios. So when I come back to this table, and talk to some of the clients that are my sweet spot, kind of similar to what you have, is that I not only have the depth of the industry knowledge, but I also have the breadth of having worked on so many different kinds of projects. I think it's so valuable to, I'm not saying one or other is better. What I'm saying is over your career, I think it's fun to have both because that allows you the way that you described it was really beautiful because you said it was kind of like you said I'm the liaison. I used to use this word of like I'm like the translator. I'd have the customer team over here, the customer service team that says they want to do this, and then the developers over here, and these people are saying the same words but they're not speaking the same language at
Yeah.
all. Like there, it's really it's what's the right word? It's phenomenal to me that they'll be sitting at a table, kind of talking to one another, but they're looking around going, is somebody understanding what I'm saying? And you're like, no, they're not. So having those, you use the word liaison, having a liaison, having a translator, having someone in between there that can really understand the people component and the business component and see how we marry those two together. This is the requirement that's needed and then you have this expertise. So I've had so much fun in those roles in between of being that translator as well,
Mhm.
that liaison as well, because and that's actually a what I want to point out is that's a skill set. It's a
Mhm.
skill set to be able to understand each of those different parties that don't necessarily communicate the same way all of the time to be able to and there's value in that. There's
Oh, yeah.
tremendous value in these roles that you and I are talking about doing. And so that would be another idea if you're a young professional in these new spaces is you get industry experience, you get right the vertical experience, the horizontal experience by working on different projects, and then that kind of in between person, if it's your sweet spot and you're interested in it, if you're hearing what we're saying and you're like, I am not interested in that at all, then it's just not your thing, and that's totally okay. Right?
That's true.
Right? We go where we already have what I say, like these God-given desires and dreams and passions and interests, and we just keep cultivating them in our careers. And that's how you get 22 years later for me, 25 years later, I have a friend 30 years later in these
Oh,
worlds and say, I kind of know a couple of things and I can help customers because I know a couple of things and I know them so well that I can do them with my eyes closed. I can do them in my sleep and I know how to get these outcomes for other people. So as we're wrapping up the show here, one of the last things that I really want to say, like, what's next? What do you think would be next on the horizon, either for your organization or just you can do one, you can answer it one of two ways, pick your own ending. What would be next for your organization that you could see that you guys want to do, or what would be an just one other encouragement you could give somebody who's just starting out?
okay. Um, so for my organization, what we think what is next is like with all this AI and the disruptive technologies that is coming out, how do we stay ahead
Mm.
in the market,
Mhm.
right? And uh, so we are thinking about all these kind of use cases or what is the best way to use that technology.
Oh, yeah.
AI is just not ChatGPT, but so what is next? What is my best way to utilize tap out of it uh, without disrupting my business, helping out the business and all that. So we have a lot of like every year for the next year during the last quarter or something, we have a precursor of what we will do in the next year. So uh, kind of a strategy, but not like a big runway, but just 1 year runway. So the main thing is focusing on that, and then we stay focused for the next 1 year in that. So I'm really looking forward, like what we have in plate for, for the next year, and that is going to be something to do with, a little bit of more roadmaps into the cloud and a lot of AI is what I am thinking for my business, at least where we stand as of now.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Oh, that's so amazing. Thank you so much for sharing everything today. I really want to honor you for being on the show, for being courageous to reach out to me and say, hey, I'm in a different space. Does it still make sense to have a conversation? Like, that takes a lot of courage. I thank you for that. And I just honor you and what you're doing inside your business right now, Ramya. Thank you so much for being here with me today. And gang, as we wrap up the show today, if you ever want to reach out to Ramna, I'll make sure and put her details in the show notes, and we'd love to be able to connect everybody. You know that on the show, we love to be able to elevate experts in the space in SAP, now in Oracle, our very first one today. This is so exciting. And yeah, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate your time today.
Yeah, thanks, Anita. Thank you so much. And great knowing you, great talking to you. And yeah, so it is like I was just trying to see, like, okay, SAP, why not Oracle? Is there a space? And it's a better experience, different experience to talk to a different mind and learn from each other. So looking forward. Yeah. Thank
Yeah,
you. Thank you so
I
much for the time.
yeah. Thanks so much, everybody. Well, that's a wrap for today's episode of the Wealthy SAP Consultant Podcast with your host, Anita Anello. We hope you gained valuable insights and strategies to take your consulting business to new heights. Remember, by showcasing your expertise and delivering premium services, you can attract high-paying clients and increase your revenues while serving your customers at the highest levels. To dive deeper into implementing these strategies and overcoming challenges in your consulting journey, schedule a strategy call with our team by clicking on the link below. Stay tuned for our next episode where we'll continue to provide you with actionable tips and advice to excel in the SAP consulting industry. Thank you for tuning in, and until next time, keep shining in your consulting business.